Hi everyone, I'm Melissa from Melissa Forsey at Events and Marketing. And today I wanted to share with you another marketing tip of the week about the 4 stages of successful networking. Now, just before I get into the content on this, I wanted to give you a little bit more information why I chose to share this tip. A lot of times people attend networking events and they do it in a way that is sort of cursory and they're not really following through as far as they possibly can with each lead that they're making. Networking is not just about going to a networking event or meeting somebody for the first time. There's actually quite a lot that you can do to get the most of all those experiences so that it can be more profitable to you in the long term. So this tip is all about the 4 stages of successful networking and how you can leverage them for your business. If you prefer to read this tip on my blog, you're welcome to click the link in the description and that'll bring you straight to my website. If you prefer to consume it in video form, stick with me here. The 4 stages of successful networking. Networking is a core marketing tactic that many business owners, nonprofits, and professionals use. In fact, when I work with clients on the structure of their marketing plan, some type of networking almost always exists as a key piece of their first tier introductory level. In principle, this is a great idea for building connections and eventually for building revenue. However, I have consistently found over the years that many networkers are falling prey to some of the traps of taking a tactical approach, missing out on the benefits of networking. So today, I'm sharing the 4 stages of successful networking and how you can make the most out of them. Networking is a process, not an isolated activity. Once you start to think of it as a multi-step process, you can begin to flesh out all the ways you can maximize every step. Ultimately, this gives you better returns on the time and energy that you spend. So what goes into the networking process? I divide this into 4 distinct stages: pre-event, event, immediate aftermath, and follow-up. Let's face it, if you meet someone once for 5 minutes, what is the chance you're going to remember them later? If you meet them once for a longer period of time, the likelihood of recall increases. If you meet them for 5 minutes once and then have periodic touch points afterwards, the likelihood of recall also increases. When it comes to networking, the rule of 7 very much applies. And that rule of 7 is all about the fact that it takes many impressions, some say 7 or more impressions, for somebody to be able to remember you and convert. So to help you make the most of your networking, here are tips for how to get as much as you can out of each of the 4 stages of successful networking. So first, we're going to talk about that pre-event phase. If you're going to an event with a speaker or any other influencer that you know will be in attendance, do a little research. If you want to turn that person's head at this event or in the future, it helps to know how to turn it. Have a couple sentences worth of biographical information in your mind. Arm yourself with an interesting fact or two. Make sure you're ready to capitalize on whatever opportunities arise. I remember one time when I was invited to speak at a networking meeting, and in the few minutes before the event, while we were waiting for some arrivals, one of the attendees caught my eye and he said, "How did it feel to be Rookie of the Week for the Brown gymnastics team?" And it completely caught me off guard. I immediately knew he had looked me up and was prepared for me. I still remember him, his name, and his business. The next phase is the event phase. Now, different events have different rules and formats. So once you know the rules, you can figure out how to work within them to maximize your experience, respecting your personal boundaries. For example, if you're an introvert, you might have more boundaries that you need to work with on that. One thing that's always helpful is to define for yourself the type of person you want to meet. Who is your networking target market? Maybe you have more than one. So as you figure out who's in the room, it makes sense to prioritize the people who could potentially have a material impact for you, regardless of their stature. If you know that detail, you can seek out more conversations with the right people. And it doesn't hurt to make a note about an interesting fact or two about them on the back of their business card so you can remember it for later. Like if they were Rookie of the Week once a long time ago. The next phase to look at is the immediate aftermath. Follow up right away. You already scheduled time for the networking event on your calendar. When you book an event onto your calendar, why not block out 30 minutes in your calendar the next day to drop a quick line to say hi to the people that you met? It doesn't have to be complicated. Just let them know you were glad to meet them. You could even write a standard message and just tailor each one with the name of the person you met to send out individual emails. But bonus points if you can add a sentence or two about one of the interesting facts that you learned. It's amazing how few people follow up at all. The 30 seconds you took to write a couple of sentences could make you stand out. And then the final stage to consider is that follow-up stage, the long-term follow-up stage. Of the percentage of people who do reach out right after the event, a very small subset continue to follow up again later. If you have an automated system you can plug them into, that's great. But if not, set a reminder for a month or two from now and say hi. It can be in conjunction with something that you had talked about, or you might see some relevant news that could be of interest to them, or you could just ask for clarification on their services. The point is, follow-up is where the real relationship building starts because clearly you care. Although I can appreciate that for some people, networking is all about meeting people in volume, the reality is that it only takes one great contact to completely change your business or the way you look at life. Superficial relationships in volume have very little chance to move the needle for you because you probably got purged from your contacts' short-term memory a long time ago. So the next time you're in any networking setting, make the most of it by using some of these tips on the 4 stages of successful networking. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you'll share your thoughts about this in the comments. And again, if you want to read more in depth, you're welcome to click the link in the description to go back to the website. Thank you again. Good luck and happy marketing.